Hello, good evening, and welcome to Friday night is Organ Music Night. It's Friday night. What happened to the week? Gosh, it's disappeared. The maple leaf rag, not the maple syrup rag, as Robert seemed to think, but close. Close, but yeah, I love it. Nice one. Yeah, the maple leaf rag. Is it Canadian? I don't know. It was written a very, very long time ago by our friend Scott Joplin. An absolutely magnificently wonderful piece of music. A lot of ragtime tonight to play with, just for fun. I'm in the mood for fun music tonight, and I'll tell you why. Coming on Sunday. Hold on. Oh no, I have to, oh bugger, what do I do? Oh yeah, I do that, that's right. On Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, click, check that out. On Sunday, what a beautiful poster. I didn't do that. On Sunday, I am playing at 5 p.m. local time, a concert in the beautiful church of Gackenbach, which we visited many, many times on the channel. It's an absolutely beautiful place, and it's got the most amazing organs. It's got 2 organs in there, and I'm opening the concert season this year. There are a number of concerts this year coming up with some amazing musicians, and I get to open the season this year, which is really rather exciting. So I spent all day today over there, and I spent all day over there getting the organ ready for my concert on Sunday today, and it's without putting, without being overly confident and overly cocky, it's going to be good fun. We're going to play some ragtime, we're going to play some jazz, we're going to have some improvisations, and we're going to have some classical music as well. And I'm going to actually include 2 of the pieces I'm playing on Sunday in tonight's program. Here's the first of them. It's a ragtime piece of music, much like the maple leaf rag you just heard there, but by another composer. His name is Henry Lodge. It's the Temptation Rag. I've played it many, many times. I love playing it, and we're going to play it at full Wayne Marshall speed. Something hopefully like this. How's about that then? Psst, the PayPal link. Oh, right. How do I do that again? Hold on. Click. There you are. Thank you, Urza. I forgot about that. Yeah, there we go. The temptation rag. There you are. Go and be tempted to chip in to tonight's funds to help a poor, starving musician. You know what that feels like. And cheers, everybody. Tonight, with a slightly different libation, is our friend French Horn with us this evening. French Horn, bist du da? Wenn du da bist, sag Bescheid im Chat. Das ist was von dir, was ich da trinke gerade. Haha. Okay, right. That was our little corner of goodness from the ragtime department. Now, like I say, I'm going to play two of the pieces I'm going to perform on Sunday. And I'm performing some classical music. I'm performing stuff by Lefebvre Velli, which is rather good. I'm performing stuff by Karg Eilert, which is deliciously gorgeous. I'm performing stuff by Eugène Gigou, which is very fast. We're going to do that in a moment. And I'm performing stuff by another guy. We'll come to him later. Let's do some Gigou, shall we? Who fancies Gigou's Toccata? I do. It's a grand piece of music and it romps along at good speed. We have two speeds to choose from. We have a nice, sensible speed. Or once again, we have the full-on Wayne Marshall speed. What do you fancy? Answers in the chat immediately. Thumbs up for bloody fast. Thumbs down for not quite so fast. Off you go. I want bloody fast. I'm in the mood for bloody fast. Who fancies bloody fast? That's the official term, by the way. That's what it says in the music. If you look at the actual music, I don't need the music for it, but if you look at the music, it actually says bloody fast. What do you think? V fast, double thumbs up. Thumbs up, hello, fast, yes. Well, yes, Robert. Yes, fast or no fast? It's spirited, says David. Spirited. I like spirited. Dylan says thumbs up. Right. All right. Let's go for it then. I'm not playing it this fast on Sunday, but let's get through it at a stupid speed and see what we can do. Liberace speed, please. Liberace speed. Liberace speed. Well, I need to get the hands going for Liberace. Well, let's do the Virgil Fox speed. How about that? All right. All right. No excuses for bad notes here. It's the speed. Let's try it though. See what happens. From memory as well. Let's see what happens here. Fast enough? Bloody hell. Okay, I'm not going to be playing it that fast on Sunday. It's weird how it's almost doable at that speed, which is kind of weird. Whew. That was kind of cool. Yeah, good fun. All good fun. Right, on with the show. On with the show. We have a couple of requests to have a look at tonight. Thank you to those of you who have already sent some requests. New rules with requests. You want a request played, you do what it says at the top of the screen there. Simple as that. Simple as that. All right, new rules. We have a lot of people. Oh, what's this? Would you like to, what? Oh my goodness, I'm going to read that one later. Right, let's have that. Pop that over on the old thingy-de-bobbedy. There we go. Right, thank you very much. We'll have a look at that in a moment. First of all, however, we're going to look at this. Now, we missed a birthday last week. Hold on, let me just make sure I get my birthdays here. It was our friend Joshua's birthday last week. And sadly, the mail didn't appear until just earlier this week, so I didn't get it, I'm afraid. I do apologize. Joshua, for some reason there was a problem with mail, so don't understand why that didn't come in. So let's see what we can do with this. I need to change my registrations here. Now, first of all, we're going to sing happy birthday for Joshua. It was Joshua's birthday. Well, it was actually last weekend, Joshua's birthday. So let's quickly sing happy birthday to Joshua, and then we shall play this piece of music. Okay? That's Joshua McCready. So Joshua, should you be in the chat, say hi immediately. And we can all say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Joshua. Thank you for joining us in the old chit-chat there. Joshua has requested a rather nice piece of music. I don't think I've ever played this before, but it should be playable. It's fairly sight-readable, as far as I can see. Let me just quickly turn on my winky blinks. It's only 4 pages. I should know this. I really should know this. But so thank you, Joshua, for suggesting this. Let me see. We need a nice solo, don't we? Oh, excuse me, the old hiccups are coming in tonight. We just had a huge dinner. I'm about to explode, Mr. Creosote style, all over the organ. Here's a piece of music by Edward Elgar. There you are, the Salut d'amour, the greeting to love by Mr. Edward Elgar. Yes, and I recognized it, but I've never played it before. So when it modulates on the page turn, bastard. It modulates on the page turn, completely by surprise, from B flat to my favorite key, D flat, which is kind of cool, which is absolutely fine and wonderful, but not what we're looking for. Kind of cool. So there we are. Thank you, Joshua. That's very kind indeed. Over to you, Joshua. You know what to do now. And yes, thank you very much. Hope you had a wonderful birthday when the time was there. Sorry for missing it and only catching it now, but never too late. Never too late indeed. Mesha Staley is here tonight. Good evening to you. I wonder who you are in real life. Liam had a question regarding donations. Liam, how do you know to attribute the donation to the request? Well, if you request something and then donate, I know. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Unless you request something under a name like Mesha Staley, and then donate something under a name like, oh, I don't know, something like Arthur Brown, then it's obviously quite difficult to know exactly who it's all about, but you know what I'm talking about. Isn't that a lovely sound? I love this instrument. Okay, why is my machine not updating? Let's try that again. I've loaded some things onto here, so it should be updating for me. Doesn't want to. That's weird. All right, well, we'll come back to that in a moment. Wonderful, 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 says our friend. Yes. Gosh, new names and new people in there. Sorry, I'm waiting for this thing to, what's the word I'm looking for? Synchronize. And for some reason it isn't synchronizing. And if it doesn't synchronize, then I'm kind of stuffed, because it should synchronize the stuff that came from here. Yeah, it's all on here, so why isn't it synchronizing to there? We'll give it a minute or two, and I'm sure it will. Otherwise, we'll have to work something out. Anyway, right, now, hold on. We had a request last week for a piece of music that came in quite late. William Barron, there we are. Now, William requested a lovely hymn we were doing hymns to Mary last weekend, remember that? And he requested a beautiful one. Now, I know this as what's the word I'm looking for? Christmas hymn, a carol. I know this as a Christmas carol, which is rather lovely, but it's actually a normal Immaculate Mary hymn that you might sing. It's number 577 in a book that William sends, and it's rather grand. It's actually a French hymn all those years ago, a French hymn. It's rather delicious. Check this out. I think that's really a cute old hymn, don't you think? Isn't that nice? I like it. I like it a lot. Oh my God, what on earth is that? Good God. What key is that written in? There's an awful lot of double sharps there. What on earth? Bloody hell, that's not sight readable. I'll have to have a look at that. You know who it is because you just sent it to me. No chance sight reading that, but hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. It's written, it sounds in D major, but it's written in C double sharp major. Does that make sense? Oh, it's by you. It's actually by you. Here, set your program to D major. You've set your program to C sharp minor for some reason. If you set your program, if the key of the piece to D major, then it'll work with all the right notes in all the right order as well. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It looks really cool, but it's probably a lot easier than it appears to be. Yeah, we'll save that. We'll save that for now. Thank you for sending it. I'll add it to the list of things there. But yeah, take your notation program and put it in D major. Yeah, you know who you are in the chat there. Yeah, that looks really weird. I've got a piece on the program for Sunday night, and it's written in G flat major or E flat minor, whichever you prefer, and it's all over the place. It modulates to a million different keys, so there's all these double flats and double sharps, and it's impossible to read, but once you've got your head around where it's going, it's really easy, and it's really lovely and really melodic. So yeah, gosh, right. Let's see if this will now update. If not, we're having problems here tonight. Why are we having so many problems with this thing? Let me, I have an idea. Let's close it down here and then reopen it here. Let's try that. It's not closing here. Right, press the magic button. Kill, the kill switch. As you describe this composition with the schizoid key signature, the image I'm getting is an illegible transcript that Sting was given while auditioning on bass for a local big band. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. It's that kind of thing. Right, let's open up again and see what happens now. If this is not going to synchronize, we have a... Oh, it's synchronizing. Good. There we are. It's synchronizing. Right. Splendid, splendid, splendid. Let's to 1909. 1909? That's almost 4 hours ago. And here's a piece of music called Would You Like to Learn to Like Me? I'm not sure why anyone would want to know that, but words by Barney Gerard and music by Albert von Tilzer. That's a good name, Albert von Tilzer. Joe, cigarette break. I hope you're not smoking again, Joe. I definitely shouldn't be doing that. Okay, it's one of those sort of novelty numbers from pre-First World War. So we need a novelty registration from pre-First World War. Something like a dat. The like button is 20 this year. The birthday is November, going by Wikipedia. BBC did a feature on it today. The like button is 20 years old. Right, well, in that case, let's say happy birthday to the like button, and you go and press the like button. How about that? That'd be kind of cool. Would you like to learn to like me? Nice, I like it. Now we know why he chose that piece of music. You can always trust Yellowbird to come up with some weird and wonderful music that fits a certain occasion. Congratulations. What a cute tune. What a cute tune. Do your slow foxtrots to that. I almost managed my scale there. That's better. Scales in thirds in D major. Practice, people, and you'll get them right. I did all that when I was very, very young, and it's paid off because I can still do it today. Does that make sense? Gosh, right. Ooh, a ticket or two has been purchased this evening. Right, let's go and have a look and see who's been over there, and we'll say hi to you in the old chit-chat while we're at it. If you have not already said hello in the chat, now is your chance to do it and get your name mentioned live online. A huge thank you to Mr. Stefan M. Thank you, Stefan M. Who dis? It's Liam. Thank you, Liam. And you heard what I said there, so see if you can sort something out there, and we'll sort that out. Another there's not Stefan M, this is Stefan N. Thank you, Stefan N. That's very kind indeed. And now we have a few people lumped together. Who do we have lumped together? That's the yellow man from Texas. It's Lucian Goodson. Thank you very much indeed. Is there a message there tonight? There's tickets for last Friday and tonight. Thank you, Lucian. That's the way we want. That's the way we want it. Alexander. Thank you very much to Alexander. Alexander, I sent you a text message a couple of minutes ago. I wonder if you got it. Ian, I haven't won the lottery this week, so you're on the basics. I haven't won the lottery this week either, Ian, so thank you for your ticket to help. Thank you for that. And who does? Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Friday fun, says Jerry. I know how you feel. I know how you feel. I hope you're having a fun Friday wherever you are. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Right, over to the Stripe department to see what's happening over there. Some people like that. Oh God, I'm absolutely full of food this evening. It's a bit over the top. Gosh. Right, what have we got here? Who have we got? Oh, we've got a couple of folks here. There's Yellowbird, thank you very much, Yellowbird. There's the Platts gang, thank you very much, Platts gang, on the wish list. And Jeffrey F as well, thank you very much indeed. Very kind to all of you, thank you. As I speak, Gabor has just chipped in on the ticket department. Thank you very much to Gabor, very kind indeed. Now, I don't think, no, you can't see it, that's good. Can you see that, ladies and gentlemen? Can you see that? I got attacked 2 days ago. There's a huge sort of gash along the side. I look like a pirate, or I look like someone that's been attacked by a mafia gang member. So a huge gash on the side of my face here. We were out the other day playing with we have a drone that we sometimes use to take sort of aerial shots inside churches and things like that. And I was playing around with the drone. It was doing updates and things like that. And as I decided to fly the drone, instead of going zoop away from me like that, it went into my face and cut me here quite badly. You can't see it under my beard, thankfully. Cut me quite badly there, and it cut me here, 1, 2, 3, and it actually cut through my shirt and into my arm. I sort of put my hand up to do that, and it caught me there, and then went bang. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 huge cuts because of that thing. Needless to say, it then crashed into the ground and broke. The camera fell off the gimbal, so we have no drone. Maybe not a bad idea at the moment, because it's obviously dangerous. I am just very glad that it didn't connect with my bundle of joy, my little 2-year-old daughter, because she was standing right next to me when it happened. So thankfully, I was in the way and she wasn't. So, phew, good news on that. So, yeah, anyone know if you can repair drones? Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we might have to replace it. But not yet. I'm kind of over that for the moment. Right, let's play one more tune and then we'll say hi to everyone in the chat, giving you time to say hello over there. Matt, for some Band-Aids. Band-Aids would not have helped. Thankfully, I'm not a bleeder. If I do have gaping holes anywhere, they do tend to stop bleeding very, very quickly, which is good. No haemophilia in my family. Jez, this is one of your requests. I only know the chorus to this. I'm not sure I know the verse. So let's see what we can do with the verse. The Trolley Song. I don't think I've ever played that. It's a cool tune though, isn't it? Really cool tune. Not difficult, but yeah, I like it. I like it. Easy harmonies, easy melody, nice tune. The Trolley Song. I never knew who wrote that. Hugh Martin and Ralph Blaine. Ever heard of them? Ever? I don't think anyone's ever heard of them, but they wrote the Trolley Song, which is a grand piece of music from the 40s, from the MGM picture Meet Me in St. Louis, or St. Louis, depending what part of the world you are from. What do people from St. Louis actually say? Do they say St. Louis or do they say St. Louis? Is it French or English? I wonder what they do. I don't know. It's the simple answer. Is the simple answer. Gosh, fun. Thank you, Jez. I like that one. Seems this song was third offered to the producer, then he was overjoyed. Hey, none of that Bach counterpoint stuff. That's true. We don't like Bach counterpoint stuff. Take two cent, different piece, not composed arseways. Right. What's this? Wow. Ooh, also, right. Ooh, that looks cool. Not sight readable, but cool. Let me have a look at that for Sunday, Liam. Yeah, wow. Liam has been busy composing. Oh, wow, I like it. Yeah, all right. It's a bit of a secret there, what's going on here. Our friend Liam has written a piece of music. It's a choir piece of music. One arseways and one not arseways. So yeah, I'll have a look at that for Sunday, okay? I promise. It's not easily sight readable, that kind of stuff, and I want to do it properly, so we'll do that on Sunday. Yes, there will be a concert on Sunday, despite the fact I'm playing a live concert on Sunday. Ta-da! Check it out, folks. Live. Should you be in the area, do come along. Good fun stuff. A solid, about an hour and a quarter of music, something like that. Live on a real organ, a real windy, pipey organ. All good fun. Cool. I like that. Right, now there's more requests for Sunday, so we'll do them on Sunday. In the meantime, back to the other show. Jez, thank you very much. It was on the trolley then. Thanks. It was on the trolley. Oh yes, it's yes, Victoria Wood. Is it on the trolley? Okay, that's going back a bit. That's like 40 years old or something, isn't it? That must be ancient. Actually, while we're on the subject of St. Louis, let's do the St. Louis Blues. Yes. Nice. CN, do you think you could do some theatre organ classics, such as Putting on the Ritz? Is that a theatre organ classic? Could be. But yeah, we can definitely do some theatre organ stuff. Every live concert we do here, Fridays and Sundays, we usually end with about half an hour's worth of theatre organ music just for fun. So yeah, so we'll do some Putting on the Ritz later this evening. Join us for that. A thank you to Jan on the way past for your online tick. Is there Friday night is organ music night, it says. Thank you, Jan. Very kind. Thank you. Yes. Splendid. Right, we don't have any more requests. There's no point in me even looking for any. What I will, however, do is open up the Book of Magnificence. Not the Brown Book of Magnificence, my Book of Magnificence. And we're going to play some more big band style stuff. I was explaining today to certain folks who were watching me register the organ for the Gartenbach concert, how you can turn an organ into a big band. So you have your bass down in the feet. You saw me doing that a minute ago. You have an accompaniment, and you have a melody. Okay, you have all of those things, and it works like that. You have different sounds, so you have these quite distant sounds. You can bottle them up. It's quite cute as well. You've got big sounds. I can even change the registrations completely to give some really cute and funky, weird sounds. We'll maybe do that later. First of all, here's a piece of music by, well, actually, I think Harry Warren wrote this. I think Harry Warren wrote it. And it was made famous by the Count Basie Band, and they used it for a TV theme. Does anyone recognize it? Anyone recognize that? Anyone? I wonder. Anyone? No? Did anyone get it? That was a piece of music called the 920 Special. Nobody recognized that? The 920 Special. It's Willie Galloway. Willie's actually live with us this evening. He's not down the pub tonight. He's watching us from here. Thank you, by the way, for sending me those pictures a few weeks back of your lovely stuff down the pub. Request Phantom of the Opera. Oh, no, I did it once and I got a copyright mega hell problem from Andrew Lloyd Webber and his plastic face. No, Phantom of the Opera is a no-no, I'm afraid, for the simple reason that it just gets copyright claimed to hell and gets the channel into trouble. Andrew Lloyd Webber doesn't like people playing his music and not paying him directly. So there you are. So no, unfortunately, there will be no Phantom of the Opera ever. I could do that because that's just a series of notes. I could go back up. There you are. It works, yeah? Anyway, there you have it. That's all you're going to get for that reason, unfortunately. It is unfortunate. There's a couple of composers out there who really don't like you putting any version of their music up on YouTube at all. Andrew Lloyd Webber is one of them. Joe, thank you very much indeed. Joe has discovered the world of Stripe this evening. Thanks, Joe. That's very kind. Ta. Yes, some composers. Andrew Lloyd Webber is one of them. Paul Simon is another of them. Hateful little man. Any of the Eagles, not that many of them are left. At least not that many of them are still present on this planet. Some of them are off in space somewhere. Yeah, there you are. Jez got it. The Eagles. That's right. Yeah. Our friend Aaron Schaus, who you should all watch. Aaron has played some Eagles music in the past on his channel, and they demanded that he took it down immediately. Now, isn't that crazy? Why would you demand taking down somebody playing one of your pieces of music? And I mean, he wasn't even covering it on a guitar or anything like that. He was covering it on an organ, for God's sake. It makes no sense. The estate gets the money, says Robert. Well, yeah, if they let you play it and let you get away with it, you get copyright claims. And they take all your money. That's fine. That's fine because they're the composers, and if they're still alive or the estate is still in charge, then that's okay. If it's public domain, that's wrong. Gershwin, for example. Gershwin is now public domain, and nobody is entitled to his stuff. If you play an actual piece of music that's from the actual publisher and play it exactly the way the publisher published it, then I can understand the publisher wanting something, but the composer's estate gets nothing once it's in public domain, and that's the way it should be. Music copyright is a hell of a subject. It's almost impossible to understand. But certain people are absolutely fine about it. And I've actually spoken to some famous musicians over the years about it. And most of them, believe it or not, are actually fine. They're quite happy that people are just, arranging, performing their music and doing things like that. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Mr. Fogarty and co, are they... I don't know. I've played Who'll Stop the Rain before, and I got away with it. What else have I done? I've done Proud Mary a couple of times and got away with that as well. So maybe they're not that bad. There you are. Sandro, can you please play What a Wonderful World? Well, Sandro, you know what to do. You know what to do. Check the top of the chat screen there. There's a little pinned message there. You know what to do. And then I'm sure your wish can be taken care of. I don't know German copyright law. It's the same all around the world. It's the same. Some places it's 50 years until it's public domain. Most it's 70. That's after composer's death, by the way. So once your composer has been dead for 70 years, you are allowed to do it. YouTube has to have the performer's license. Not true. Absolutely not true. I got a shutdown channel threat for Despardo. whatever that is. Okay, well, see, it does. It's there. It's not just me. You know, everyone's affected by it. These things are, you know, they're checked out by AI basically these days. Artificial intelligence checks everybody's channel, and after pretty much every live stream, about 10 minutes after we stop, I get my first messages from some AI thing saying your channel has been, or your live stream has been copyright claimed because you played a certain piece of music. And mainly it's because I played a piece of music that somebody else recorded. I played the Gigu Toccata earlier this evening. Now that's obviously public domain, but obviously my performance sounds like somebody else's recorded version, and it's the CD publishers, if you like, who are claiming copyright on it, and that's just wrong. What they are doing, though, you know, they're assuming you are playing commercially available recorded music on your live stream. That's what they're assuming. They don't bother checking. It's pathetic. It really is pathetic. Anyway, there you have it. Right. Yes, sorry, some people I have spoken to who don't mind it. Jeff Lynn, for example, from ELO. Jeff is quite happy to have people playing his music. He loves it. He's honoured that people want to play his music. Jeff is the most down-to-earth person in the universe. He really is. And he's quite happy for people to play it. He hasn't got a problem with it at all. Yeah. Who else? The estate of certain ex-Beatles. They don't mind you playing music either. They're quite happy about that. The estate of one living Beatle does not want you to do it at all, unless you pay him lots of money. Again, hateful little man. But we're not going to get into that tonight. Old stories from old, long gone days. CN, who's CN? Do you have a name, CN? What is the largest acoustic theatre or theatre pipe organ you've ever seen or played? The last one I got to play was a 312 Morton in Lakeland, Florida. The biggest one I've ever played was Radio City Music Hall in New York. 4 manuals, 58 ranks, I think it is. I got to play Radio City a couple of times years ago when I was in New York. I played the Fox Detroit, which is a 436. I've played the, what's the other one in Detroit? The, I can't remember the name of the theatre now. Beautiful, it's a 432, I think. That's a lovely one. I've played the Chicago Theatre Wurlitzer in Chicago, funnily enough. That's a 4, what is it? Is it 32, 33, 34? Or is it something like that? Other big ones I've played. I think that's about it for the big ones. Yeah, I think those are the biggest ones I've ever played. Yeah, something like that. Robert, Ringo. No, not Ringo, the other one. Ringo's fine. Ringo's all right. Ringo knows how to laugh at himself. The other one doesn't. But never mind, we're not going to talk about that tonight. Let's go to theatre organ land. Come on, let's go. We're busy talking about theatre organ, so let's go. You want the Morton tonight, CN. Tell us your real name, CN, and we'll sort it out. The thing is, with YouTube copyright, everyone gets their knickers in a twist because they think they're creating problems. You're not. As long as you can prove you are not using somebody else's recorded material. So something that somebody recorded in the studio, released on a CD or a streaming service or whatever, and you can buy it commercially. Yeah? If you're not using that actual performance, then you're usually all right. Okay, it shouldn't end in a copyright strike. It will result in a copyright claim. That's fine, but it shouldn't be a copyright strike. Some publishing companies, some CD distributors, they claim the copyright on certain things, but they're not. They have the mechanical rights to that recording. So if you're not using that recording, then obviously you shouldn't. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know, it's all very complicated. Speak to your local lawyer and they will not help you because it's a very, very complicated subject. Theatre organ time. And it's the Morton tonight. What did you want? Somebody wanted, oh hold on, somebody wanted What a Wonderful World, but I don't seem to have my I don't seem to have my tip. I don't seem to have my tip jar deposit for that, so we shall wait, see what happens. But somebody else requested CN. Who are you, CN? We need to know who you are. We need to know who you are. Give us your real name, and we will talk to you. Let's have Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz for our friend CN, who still hasn't told us what his name is. Or have you? He's run away. Run away! We're going to do some more Monty Python one of these days. Anyway, yes, there you are. I'm putting on the Ritz. putting on the Ritz. I particularly like the original Fred Astaire version of that, where I love the video of from the film, obviously, but the video that Fred Astaire did, it was incredibly technically advanced for its time, especially the second part, once they move into the huge space where there are hundreds of Fred Astaire's all dancing together. It's one of the best dance sequences ever. One of my dreams has always been to be able to tap dance properly. Isn't that horrendously camp? But I would always wanted to be able to tap dance, in real tap dance, not all that kind of crap. Proper tap dance, you know, Fred Astaire stuff. Wouldn't that be amazing? Why did that go out of fashion, I wonder? Yeah, incredibly technical stuff. It'd be impossible now with my enormous gut and general laziness. I don't think I would manage it at all. So yeah, so that's me buggered then, basically, isn't it? Not literally, obviously. Anyway, moving on. Right. The last person this evening was Willie Galloway so far. So is Willie going to be our final auctioneer this evening? Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. was always a bit over the top. It was always very, very technical and over the top. But Fred Astaire was just so graceful and musical. Gene Kelly, technically very good, but he always looked like he was just about to fall over. You know what I mean? Donald, what's his name? He was a much better dancer than Gene Kelly was, in my opinion. You know the ones I'm talking about. That film, what's that film called? Singing in the Rain, that's the one. But yeah, best one, definitely Fred Astaire. Definitely. Sammy Davis Jr., very technically good, but just over the top. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, let's not get onto that. Roy Castle, oh, for God's sake. No, sorry. Roy Castle was as good a tap dancer as he was a trumpeter. And that's all I have to say about that. I once played a gig with Humphrey Lyttelton. Remember Humphrey Lyttelton? A jazz trumpeter, a very posh jazz trumpeter. He went to Eton. And went into the jazz world. He came from a ludicrously loaded family, so he didn't actually ever need to work. But anyway, Humph. He was very aware of his abilities as a jazz trumpeter. Let's put it like that. But he was still very good. He had a very good jazz ear. Might not have been the best technician, but had a very good jazz ear, and that, in my mind, is much better. And we were playing this gig together. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere down near London. Carshalton, I think it was. There you are. That should ring a bell. It was at the Carshalton Jazz Club, which was a right dingy old dive. Anyway, I think that's where it was. It was somewhere in the south of London. Anyway, and we were playing some number, and somebody in the audience said, "Hey, Humph, can you play like Roy Castle?" And Humphrey turned around and said, "Oh, good heavens, no, I'm much better." And that was the end of that. And at the interval, we were having a pint at the bar. And I said to Humphrey, I said, "What was that joke about Roy there? You're not very fond of his trumpet playing." He said, "Oh, he can only do one thing. It's like his dancing. He can only do one thing. Have you ever seen him do anything else?" And I said, "I'm not sure." He said, "Yeah, watch him when he pretends he's playing a piece of music that that it's spontaneous. He's jamming with a piece of music. He's been practicing it for weeks, practicing it for months. It's like his dancing. It's not spontaneous about him at all. Fraud." That's all he had to say about him. So I thought, right, I will ignore that. Moving on. I know a few musicians like that here, actually. Actually, I know a lot of musicians like that. You ask them to do something spontaneous, and they're completely lost unless they've practiced it for years and years and years in advance. I was at a jazz festival in the south of Germany years ago. This is just after I moved to Germany. I'm not going to name names for this one because two of the individuals are still alive. This was right down in the south of Germany in a place called Kempten. Anyone ever been there? Right down at the bottom of the A7, very close to the Austrian border. and all sorts of jazz bands from all over the world would play, and after every concert every night, every big concert every night, they got various musicians on stage and they all got together for a jam session. And I was with a Dutch band, I think. I was there with a Dutch band. I think it was a Dutch band. And we'd played our gigs, and we went then to join the other bands in the main venue, the main sort of town theatre or wherever it was. And on stage had been this fairly famous German musician with his band, and rapturous applause at the end of it. And then the organizer came on and said, right, on stage now, let's have on the piano all the way from Scotland, Mr. Fraser Gartshore, blah, blah, blah. And he also got all the way from Germany as well, all the way from Mülheim an der Ruhr, which I thought was, oh, that sounds like a weird place, but this was Mr. Helge Schneider. Remember Helge Schneider? A wonderfully hilarious German comedian and very good jazz musician. That's the only name I will give you, because the other one I won't give you. So anyway, so Helge walked on, I walked on with him. I didn't know who these people were. I was new in Germany. I'd never heard of them. Couldn't even speak in much German at the time either. So I walked on stage with this crazy guy with all the hair, that's Helge. And we sat down at the piano and started playing a duet. And the band joined in and off we went. And it was all very spontaneous. It was great fun. And then Helge nudged me and said, here, the guy who's been playing piano all night with his band, he can't play piano. It's all practiced. He can't do jazz. There's nothing spontaneous about it. Let's get him to come and play with us on the piano, all three of us. But we won't tell him what key we're playing in. So we got the guy over. And Helge sort of went up and took the microphone and made hundreds of jokes in German that I didn't understand, and announced we were going to play the tune All of Me, you know, jazz standard that every jazz musician in the universe can play with their eyes, ears and butts closed, yeah, everything. And but the thing is, normally you would play it in B flat major, normally. But we decided, because we were going to annoy this guy, we were going to play it in A major. And we told the whole band beforehand, we're going to play it in A major, not in B flat. So we launched into this, yeah, and this other guy came and joined us at the piano, this other guy who allegedly knew what we were talking about. He sat down, I was on the left, Helge was in the middle, and this guy sat down at the right so the audience could see him. And we were bopping away and really going for it. There was some guy giving it big licks on the saxophone, and Helge turned around and said, hey, go for it. Go for it. Take your solo. And he mentioned his name. And this guy launched into a solo in B flat major. Everyone else was playing in A. It was the most wonderfully embarrassing thing I'd ever heard in my life. He stopped after 3 bars and pretended to start dancing, pretended to start tap dancing. That's why I'm telling this anecdote after all. Crazy. But it stopped him. He didn't look at the piano for the rest of the night. So the two of us had a whale of a time while everyone else was doing that. That's a very, very long time ago now. Have you seen the Carmen Labs organ? I have seen it in YouTube videos. I've never been there live, but I have. So next time I'm in the States, I do plan to go there. Willie Galloway took tap classes in his 20s. I have a gold medal. Can't now, the knees won't play. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I am jealous. I am jealous. That would have been good fun, wouldn't it? What should we do now? Let's do another, actually, let's do an old jazz standard from the late 20s. Everyone thinks it's much more modern, but it's actually from the late 20s. Shall we stick with these registrations? Yeah, let's do this. You will probably recognize this. Sing along if you know the words. Beautiful old tune from Oscar Kern and it was Oscar Hammerstein and Jerome Kern. Sorry, that's the way around, wasn't it? Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein the third. Did you know that? I wonder what the other Oscar Hammersteins did before him. I wonder. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. It's 11:45, ladies and gentlemen. Time for something fast. How about... It's not putting on the Ritz. Sweet Georgia Brown, given the high-speed treatment there. The song about Sweet Georgia Brown is not very pleasant. She was a lady of ill repute who earned her money by doing ancient things, shall we say, and yeah. So the faster she could do it, the more she made, apparently. There you are. There's another tune about a similar profession. It's called Lulu's Back in Town. A wandering woman of ill repute who came back to a certain city, and all the men in that city decided to get all tarted up to go out for the night to enjoy Lulu and her tricks. Anyway, there you are. Useless information that none of you need to know. I hope you're enjoying these history lessons at the same time. Right, let's have a quick check. I'm not missing out on anything here. Andrew Prince. Did I mention Andrew Prince already? Thank you, Andrew. Oh, that came in, yeah, that came in about 20 minutes ago, so I haven't mentioned that one yet. Thank you to Andrew Prince. Splendid. Shall we slow things down a little bit? Have any of you ordered anything from the internet lately? If you have, it will have arrived. Just like, well, not, change the word to the word from, and you've got it. A quick visit there from a slow boat to China. Maybe somebody should take Andrew Lloyd Webber and send him on a slow boat to China. Would that be a nice idea? Be good for the copyrights. Anyway, right, now then. I think it's on here. Let me just double check. Oh, bloody hell. It's not. Oh, well, hold on. Let me just quickly go over here and see if we can find this. There we go. Ping. Found it. quickly log in here. There we are, and quickly download that. There it is. This is how it works, you see. Now we go to my download folder. I click on that, click on that, click on that, and as if by magic, it should synchronize and move over to this. It did. It worked. Bingo. There it is. Right. It's getting close to midnight, ladies and gentlemen, which means in countries east of here, where I am, in Central Europe, in Germany, it is already the early hours of tomorrow morning, which means we can play this tune, our final tune for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, dedicated to our dear friend, Mr. Joe Humans. It's Joe's birthday coming up, by the way, sometime soon. Tell you about that nearer the time. And here's a lovely piece of music called In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. Cute little tune. See what you think. I'll be back in a minute. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this evening's doodahs, for your tickets and contributions and other such things. Very kind indeed. Thank you very much. Keep them coming. Don't forget, without your help, none of this is possible. We do kind of rely on your support to keep these concerts going. So thank you very much to all of you who did chip in. And thank you to the rest of you who are about to do such. Here's In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. in the wee small hours of the morning, and I know how you feel. Time then, ladies and gentlemen, to finish this evening's cornucopia of stuff. And I wish you a pleasant start to the weekend. See you all at the very latest on Sunday night. I might see some of you on Sunday afternoon. Wouldn't that be cool? Do come along and say hi. That would be cool. Right. See you all then. Time then for some bye bye blues. See you, folks.